Hey everybody, a little something different to throw into the mix here on the videos. I have most of my life, as far as model cars, I've almost always predominantly built well, cars and bikes, and some sci-fi stuff. When I was younger, military stuff. I really liked airplanes and battleships and all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, I've stuck with cars and motorcycles. And in 2000, I finished building a real one-to-one 32 Ford Coupe, which was kind of my dream car. Like a lot of us who saw American Graffiti, I was in high school when American Graffiti came out. I just fell in love with the Graffiti Coupe and dreamed of having one of those cars. And it took me a while to build it. I just started buying parts and started out with an engine block that I traded some work for, and went from there until we were in a financial situation where I was able to get the chassis and then eventually the body and get it put together. And I drove that car for 10 years. And business kind of went on the skids a little bit about 2010. And it was a cash cow at the time, and I sold it, and I hated selling it, and I really missed the car. But and I pretty much sold everything, all my car parts and everything, and I didn't want anything to do with car stuff for a while. So I quit building model cars, and I love science fiction stuff. I really love Lost in Space, and I decided there were some kits out at the time, and Polar Lights had the small Jupiter 2 kit available, and so I had started messing with that, and I was interested in lighting it up. So I started digging around online and ran across the killer website with lighting for science fiction models, and it turned out it was a guy that I went to high school with, Simon Marks, and he was still lived in Daytona, literally in the same neighborhood we grew up in. He had bought his parents' house and was still living there. And I went up to see him and his garage studio, which was incredible, and his models, which were incredible. And Simon is still just one hell of a model builder. He is the Star Trek guy. But he showed me how to do some lighting stuff, and things kind of took off from there. And then I got hooked up with Randy Newbert from Voodoo Effects, who I started buying light kits from. And Randy helped me tremendously, too, with lighting. And at the urging kind of a Simon, he said, your work's good enough, you could sell it. He goes, there's good money to be made in this. And I thought, well, I could use the sideline work business. I got the time in the evenings. And so I started building stuff. First, I just started building what I wanted to build and selling it on eBay. And I sold a few of the Lost in Space chariots. And then probably the biggest things I sold, I had built the big Mobius Jupiter 2, the big one, and did full lighting in that, full fiber optics, and I sold it for a huge amount of money. And I didn't really want to sell it, and somebody offered me the I don't want to sell it price, and I sold it. And so then from there, and I continued to work. So I did that for 10 years, from 2010 to 2020. That's where the Rat Daddy Studios started up. And I was building mostly science fiction stuff for people, and it wasn't just Lost in Space. I did a lot of Star Wars stuff. I did some big studio scale models of Star Wars. I did some of the stuff from the old sci-fi television shows. I built the Eagle spaceships. I did a lot of Star Trek stuff, everything with full lighting, a lot of them with sound. Some of the last work I did 2 of the spinners with complete lighting, and I actually I did those spinners for the guy who owns BattleBots, and he wanted one for himself and one for his best friend, and they were on really cool display bases with these Fresnel prism backgrounds, which were curved and moved as you moved around them. The city scenes moved. Really, really cool stuff. And he wanted every single thing you could possibly light. The spinners are from Blade Runner. Those are the flying cars. They're really funky. Even had resin figures in there. I mean, and they're on my website, and they were really killer. And I'd already done one of those spinners and sold it and got a good amount of money for it. And he had seen that, and I got Simon had actually referred him over to me. Greg Munson is his name. And I did the work for Greg. And that was, after I did those, it took me 6 months to build those 2 for him. And I really had to make myself finish the second one. It was just, I was so over it. and just laboring on it. And both of those builds were super labor intensive, and they were so detailed. I mean, they came out great, and he still loves them, but a lot of work. And I was just getting burnt out, so I started backing off on it. So in 2020, I decided I was not going to do any more commission work anymore, and so I've kind of backed away from that. I had so many kits piled up that I wanted to do for myself, so that's where I'm back at now. So I've been back at it building cars and bikes again, and I still have some sci-fi kits. I want to do another one of the big Mobius Jupiter 2s for myself and keep it eventually. But I've got some stalled project. I've got a stalled Star Trek project, the Star Trek bridge with full lighting. I've got a stalled project, one of the big drones from the movie Oblivion with Tom Cruise, which I love, and it's 90% finished. In a couple hours I could finish it, and I pull it out and I look at it, and I just don't want to do it right now. But anyway, I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I did for myself. But a lot of this stuff, I did these for myself, and then I ended up doing them for other people. So the Lost in Space chariots from Mobius are awesome kits, and I've sold 2 out of the 3. I built 2 the last time, one for myself and one for a client. And again, with resin figures and photo etch and fiber optics and lighting, LED lighting. So I'm going to show you some of this stuff. So, and most of what I own is in this cabinet still. I don't have a lot left, but this is some of it. So there's the Lost in Space chariot. It has complete lighting in it. Everything down to the robot is lit up. Iron Man, that's the heavy lifting suit from, I think, Iron Man 3, which was actually in a movie a grand total of about 30 seconds. But it's a cool outfit. Of course, the original Iron Man. That's one of those little Jupiter 2s. That's the original one from Polar Lights. That one has lighting in it, but it's not, I don't have it hardwired like I've got most everything else in here is hardwired. It runs off on 3 9-volt batteries. The season, I think this was season 1 laser rifle from Lost in Space, and that was an aftermarket company, but it does light up. The end of it lights up blue. And of course, in the background there, you can see some old Lost in Space kits. I got Robbie the Robot is back there somewhere, and he lights up as well. I don't have him hardwired. Those still run off 9-volt batteries. Since then, I've switched everything over to where they run off of a wall wart. Most of this other stuff has been converted. These plug in to the wall with a wall wart, a 9-volt power pack. Lost in Space, the droid ship, whatever you want to call it, the abandoned spaceship, if you watch that stuff. War of the Worlds, from the original War of the Worlds. This has one of the Voodoo Effects light kits in it, so it will power up and then start blinking faster until it's like the laser beams. Of course, the Sea View from Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. That was one of the first things I did a ton of lighting on, and I remember when I got that light kit from Randy, I just about shit, because it was just a million little LEDs and diodes and wires, and I was just completely lost. So, but he helped me through that, and everything else after that just kind of was a piece of cake. The Yamato back here, from the Yamato cartoon series. Same thing, has full lighting in it. I think it's lit up. I can't even tell from here. It's hard with this cabinet. The old Witch kit down there. I did fiber optics and lighting in that. This was actually the first Star Wars ship that I built. This destroyer with fiber optics. This thing has got just, I don't know how many feet of fibers in it. And this was a learning process. It's got boards in there that make the guns fire. Turn off the light so you can see that a little better. You can see the turrets all firing. It's got engine flicker in there. Simulate the engines running. And I hung on to that one because it had some sentimental value to me. I didn't want to sell it. And it's not perfect anymore. Some of the fibers have pulled away. And whatever this crazy thing is, I forget what that's from. It's up from another cartoon series, I think. But same thing. It's like a ship that launches other ships, so we got little ships coming out of it, and it lights up under there. Some of this stuff I think is unplugged. I have to see what's going on, but yeah, so this cabinet, it's here. This is pretty much what I've got of sci-fi stuff. I've got a few other pieces at home, but keep it in this big cabinet here at my office. And I still love this stuff, and it was a part of my life building this, and it was enjoyable, and I made really good money doing it at the time when I did it. It was a good supplement to my income. And then, of course, life got busier, work got busy again. My office, things turned around here dramatically, and I'm really, really busy again, and have been. And don't have to do all that commission work. And it's like anything else. When when your hobby becomes a job, it kind of takes the fun out of it. And that's the way it was when I did those 2 spinners. It was a flattering job. It was really cool getting to do it for the guy that owned BattleBots and stuff, and he was very enthusiastic. Greg and I butted heads a lot. He had specific ideas on how he wanted them painted and everything, and I kept telling him, it's not going to work. Those colors are wrong. That's not going to work. This is not going to work. And we went about 10 rounds. It took us a couple months before I even started building to iron out everything, and did some paint samples, and then I was right, because I'd already built the thing before, and just not to that extent, with that much fibers and that much lighting. Those little tiny cars, I think, had 3 control boards inside of them running so many microscopic LEDs and fibers, and there was a lot going on those things, but the hard work paid off. They looked so good when they were done. And I think he was pretty happy with him. I think he still loves it, And he said people come over for a party and they end up kind of gathered around the thing looking at it, So that's all right. That means I did my job right. But I'm glad to be back. My first love has always been car stuff. And in that same period of time that I was doing all the sci-fi stuff, I was still, my son and I were still doing car shows. We were going to Billet Proof, where we're going to the Daytona Turkey Rod Run. And I was still, I painted and sold hundreds of shift knobs, resin shift knobs, during that period of time too. So I still had my hands in the custom culture a bit. So anyway, just want to show you guys that little something different, and I'll pull some more stuff out later. I've got some more stuff tucked away, some surprises I'll show you guys, and we'll do it again. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you again real soon with some more progress, hopefully, on that big Corvette. All right, thanks for coming by. We'll see you.